Hey guys, we're back again, and last time we shaped the bowl, we hollowed it out, and we sanded it down to 600 grit. Now, we're not finished with this. The next steps, we got to put on our stain and finish. So this is going to stay on the lathe for this step. So one thing I did not mention during the sanding process is that when you're applying that sandpaper, that friction is going to produce quite a bit of heat. So just be careful with that. Do what I did, just fold it in half, and it'll hold some of that heat back. But first thing we gotta do, we gotta clean up that bowl, so we're gonna use mineral spirits to clean this up. So we're gonna put a glove on and a paper towel. And like I said, we're going to use mineral spirits to clean this up. And for this, we will not turn the lathe on, but we will turn it by hand. And I don't know if you can see. Remember that little wheel back there? That's what we're going to use to manually spin the bowl. And we're going to put our mineral spirits on that towel paper and just rub all around the bowl. And you will see a big difference once this process is complete. Now, once again, this is going to smell like oil, so be sure you're in a well ventilated place. And already you can see improvement with how this is turning out. And if you have any crevices, be sure to get down into those as well, especially behind the lip of this bowl. I was working hard to try to get the sandpaper in that area because that's where some of the tear out was, and those are a little hard to reach. Check the inside. I'm going to come back to that one. And yeah, like I said, we're putting when you put the mineral spirits on, it already looks like it has a shine to it. But this is only the first step. Well, right now, all we're pretty much doing is just cleaning up the bowl of any dust that is still on there after vacuuming. And we're going to check all around the bowl for any spots that we missed. Check the crevices in the back. Just going to make sure I got it back here. And by the way, don't worry about the end of the bowl. That will be taken care of when that gets removed. So for now it looks all good to go, so we're going to let that dry for just a little bit, and then we're going to go to an optional step, which is the stain, which in this case I will do that. And pretty much any stain that you want to do on this, but I'm going to stick with the natural wood finish, the same one that I used in the table resurfacing video, because I want to bring out the natural colors of the maple. So once again, I'm just going to let that alcohol evaporate off of there, and we'll come back to it. Okay, we let it sit for a few minutes, and now we're ready to put the stain on. Now, just like the mineral spirits, this is going to smell, so be sure to have ventilation in the area. In this case, I have my garage door open, but if you have a fan nearby, you can turn that on as well. Try to blow some of that away. And just like as I always do, I use a foam brush to cover it up, and also put a paper towel underneath it just to catch any excess that may drip off. But our goal is to try to have as little drip as possible. I gotta be careful here for that thing to blow away. I should not need that much stain. Like I said, this is a natural wood stain. So, like I said, all it's really going to do is just bring out the natural color. It's all it's going to do. And so the amount of time required to dry will vary depending on the stain you're using. This one requires about 2 hours. And that time may vary depending on the temperature. See, it's actually pretty warm, but as we get closer to the winter months, it may get a little more difficult. So stuff like that, you may want to get a heater on standby. Yeah, it's a good thing to put a paper towel underneath because there's quite a bit of excess. May have gone a little overboard dipping it into the can. Okay, so now I'm going to try to squeeze out as much of that excess off my brush as possible. I'm going to try to catch any drips that may be coming down. Try and get all that excess. And what a time for an airplane to fly by there. There's like a municipal airport not too far away from here. All right, so we got the stain on. I'm gonna close up this can since we don't need this anymore. Okay, now per its instructions, we're going to wait for 2 hours for this to dry, and then we go to sealing. So we'll be back in about 2 hours. Okay, so the stain has dried. So now we go to the sealing, and my sealant of choice for this one is shellac. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and once again we're going to do this manually. So what I'm going to do is that I'm actually going to grab my foam brush. I left it back, I'll be right back. Alright, and now we're going to do the same thing that we did before. We're just going to just spread it on the inside of the bowl, and while turning the lathe manually. And just like I showed before, this is a process we're going to have to repeat several times. So once again, this is just the first coat, just so it'll sink into the grain. And just like before, make sure that any crevices are filled in. Okay, and we've gone through the whole bowl. So now, just like I did with the shellac before, we have to wait an hour for that to dry, and then we will come back. Okay, it's been an hour, and so now the next thing to do is to sand this down with 220 grit, but this is going to be a light sanding, so we don't need to go very aggressive on it. So we're going to turn the lathe on, and I'm going to keep it at around 1200 RPM. I'm just going to do a quick check of the whole thing. There's like a little bit of a smudge there, so I'm going to clean that up. Yeah, I don't know if you can see that. You see, it's kind of a little gummed up there, so I'm trying to clean that up before I put on another coat. Let's see, I'm gonna try to clean it up just a little more. Okay, I think we got it. Alright, so now that we have sanded it down and cleaned up the little gummy spot, and that really did a number on my sandpaper. Again, this is just from one coat. So now we're going to put another coat of shellac on. I usually put 4 coats on, but that really depends how I like it, but we're gonna go back to our shellac and put another coat on. Yeah, it may have gummed up there because it was sitting like that for this whole time and it had to go somewhere. That's my guess anyway. By the way, while I'm putting this coat on, I put in an order for a new chuck. It's called a Longworth chuck. Now, I ordered it and it said it was in stock, but then I got an email this morning said that they were out of stock. So I don't know why they even bothered to put it up on the website. But what that is like a big plate. It's about 12 inches in diameter. And what it's for is that when we get done with this, we flip this around to remove the tenon that we have that's currently holding this bowl in place. And usually when you use a Longworth chuck, you put a soft cloth on the end to protect the finish on the other side, and you spin it at no more than 600 RPM. But anyway, let's check this bowl. And looks like we covered everything for the second coat, so we have to wait another hour and then we will come back. Alright, it's been another hour, so let's put another sanding in and then we'll put on coat number 3. And by the way, I have a fresh piece of sandpaper for this. You're still trying to get that little stubborn little piece there. But I do believe that we have, well, I still need to, let me inspect that back part for a second. Yeah, I'm gonna do that back part for just one more second. Okay. Let's do a quick inspection here. All right. I think we are ready to go for coat number 3. Let's open up our shellac again and repeat the process. All right, there's coat number 3. So, you know the drill by now. We'll be back in an hour. Here we go again, another sanding, and then we'll get on coat number 4, and it should be the last one. All right, a quick look at everything. Okay, it looks good to me, and so we will put on our fourth and final coat. And then all we would need to do is just do the final sanding and then the wax. Okay, that should be the final coat. So now we have to wait for this one to dry, and then we'll do the final sanding. So we'll be back in 1 more hour. Okay, do not adjust your settings. Let me explain the lighting situation. We've been having some trouble with the lights on the ceiling up there. Like when I first flip it on, it doesn't turn on all the way. So I thought the best thing to do was to replace the lights up there. But now there's only like one bulb that's very dim, and those are LED lights. So it should be working okay. So, but I think that it is a problem with the fixture itself. So that is going to have to be fixed. So in the meantime, I got the flashlights up and going, so you can see that there isn't that many steps remaining anyway. I mean, it has to go through one more sanding and then a wax. So this time we are going to go 220 grits, then 600, 800, and 1500, and then we go to the rubbing pads. So like I said, this will be the last sanding that we do, and then we'll do waxing. Okay, for this part, we can take off the respirator since we're done with the sanding. So I have grabbed my Howard Citrus Shield paste wax. So what we're going to do is that we're going to take a clean cloth. We're going to take a chunk of that wax and we're going to rub it on. I'm also going to turn the lathe on, but I'm also going to put it on a slow speed so it doesn't fling anything around. We're just looking for even coverage all around. And by the way, I turned down the speed to 530, the lowest it goes on the medium gear. Okay, so we have put our wax on, and you were pretty generous on that. But now the next thing is to let it sit there for 3 to 5 minutes, and then apply a thin, even coat. So I'm going to remove some of that wax there. I was a little too generous on it. Let's see. Okay. All right, let's see. I think, yeah, that's much better. Okay, so we're going to let it sit there for 3 to 5 minutes, and we will come back and finish the job. Okay, it has been about 5 minutes, so we'll go ahead and start buffing out the wax, and we'll use another clean cloth to do that. And I'm going to keep it at the same speed I was before, about 530. I put on a lot more wax than I thought. Should dry out. Alright, let's take a look all around it. I am pretty satisfied with how that turned out. Okay, so we're going to take it off the lathe now. So take a little key, turn it clockwise, and we'll pull it off. And like I said, we'll worry about the tenon later once I get my Longworth chuck. But for now, we're gonna take it inside where we got a lot more light, and we'll see how it looks. Yeah, look at that. I love how that turned out. See, the sheen in it really brought out by the shellac and the wax. Yeah, definitely love how that looks. Now, for comparison, here's my previous maple bowl that I made. This one was a little bit larger, and this was my first attempt at it. You can see there was spots where there was still some tear out, and I did not sand that down. So that's why I was not satisfied with it. So let me put this down here just so you can get a side-by-side comparison between the two bowls. So the one on the right was my previous one, and the one on my left is the one I just made. And I think that there is no comparison. The one on the left is definitely better. So yeah, just like I said, there's just too much tear out on this one bowl compared to the other bowl where we sanded it down quite a bit just to make sure that we got it to the best texture possible. And like I said, we'll worry about removing the tenon later once I get my Longworth chuck, and then we'll take this off, and then we'll have our real bowls. Alright, so that was pretty much it, and I'll definitely be doing a lot more work with the lathe. But till then, I'll see you guys later.